Okay, everybody, so we are about to start drawing number 3, and I want to show you something here. I was opening Solidworks trying to stage it to get started, and I've clicked Solidworks a couple of times to try and get it to open, and when I do, I click this and nothing appears on my screen. I've had this happen one time before, and how we fixed it is I just came over here and I clicked Photoshop, click Allow, and we'll let Photoshop try and open. And what I noticed occurred before is as Photoshop goes to open, the other one kind of appears in the background here. So I don't know if you saw it flash there, but it was there. It's strange, and I wish it wasn't like that, but it's like that. So I'm just going to close this. I'm going to, I can even minimize Photoshop. See it right there? So I don't know why it's doing that, but that will get you around it. So I'm just going to do no thank you. Say okay. No thank you. So it's because I've clicked it a couple of different times. I'm my own worst enemy in that situation where I tell you guys not to do it, but I've got to get to the bottom of it and figure out why it's doing what it's doing sometimes. And so now I've got two versions of it open, which is not necessarily good either. So I'll just come over here and I'll close this. And now I only have one of them open. And I'll actually close Photoshop too. So that's an annoying step that you shouldn't have to take, but we're having to take it. It is what it is. Today we're going to be doing drawing number 3. And drawing number 3 is actually pretty easy. I'm going to go a little faster this time too and not cover every little tiny step just to simply save on the time. So this drawing, as I mentioned, very simple. The only curveball that we throw at you is the angle right here, so the 45-degree angle. And when you see how it's done, it looks a lot harder than it actually is. It's actually very simple. So I'm going to start by drawing a 1.75 inch wide by 3.5 inch long by 1.5 inch tall box, right? So I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to go to new part. I'm going to go to View, Display. Sorry, Display. Where is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Hide and Show, Origins. There we go. They changed it on this version, so that throws me sometimes. I've had a number of you go, when you come up here to click the gear and you go to Document Properties and Units, that you can see IPS, but you can't click this OK. You should be able to move this up. Now mine's already up as far as it'll go, but on yours, if it's hidden down here, you should be able to move this up, make this IPS, and you can change these to 3 decimals. This is not the end of the world. If you can't do this, don't send me an email and say I can't do it and then not do it. Just skip this step right here. All right. So there it is. So as I mentioned, we are going to we're going to draw a rectangle at first. One of the things I want to refer you guys to in the assignment, I have the repeating steps document. So you'll hear me say these things over and over and over. It's just 6 individual steps that we do over and over and over. When we get down to this one, we come back up here and we do it again and again and again. All right. So please keep that in mind as well. So I'm going to move this actually over. Let me pause something. Okay, I'm back. I moved that the dimensional drawing to another monitor so I don't have to keep pulling it back up here on the screen, so I can keep the video short. So our first step, I'm going to click Sketch. I'm going to go to the corner rectangle. I'm going to roll over the top plane. And I'm going to go over to my origin here and just make sure that I'm on my origin, draw myself a rectangle, and go to Smart Dimension. You can click this side or this side, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to click this side as per the drawing. And I'm going to make that 1.75 inches. And I'm going to make this side here 3.5 inches. I'm going to go over to Features and Extrude a Boss Base. And I'm going to make this blind. And this is going to be 1.5 inches. And I'll have to click my green check possibly a second time. So I like to zoom to fit so I can see what's going on. The next step, there's a rectangle that we're going to take out of the corner here. So I'm going to go back to sketch. There's my repeating step. So I'm back on one corner rectangle. The plane that I want to draw on is this one. Here's a tricky spot. I always start down here and I roll over. This is called, I want you to start your origin for your drawing down here at this vertex. So go ahead and click and draw, and just be careful when you connect to this other side. If you get up in here, there's the midpoint. You don't want to connect to there, because if you do, it's not going to allow you to dimension it. So I always suggest find the midpoint and then move away from it. So there, I've done that. The dimension on this side is 1 inch, and I'm going to go to features, and I'm going to go to extruded cut, and the depth on this one is 0.75 inches. So blind and 0.75 inches. Click it twice and there it is. Right? Now I've got two circles that I have to draw here. So I'm going to go back to sketch. Back to sketch. I'm going to click my circle on here, on this plane I should say. I'm going to just go ahead and draw two circles. The diameter, I'm going to go smart dimension. We always do the diameters first. I mean, you don't have to, but it's what I do. So when we're doing diameters, we don't click the center of the circle, we click the edge. I'm just going to roll out here. I also don't put my diameters in here, here. You have enough going on in this area, so I always move them out here. So the diameter of these circles are 0.44 inches. They're both exactly the same. I'm going to do the same thing with this one here, 0.44. All right, now they are from the center point, which I just clicked, to this edge. They are both exactly 0.5 inches from there. So I'm going to click the center point to down here. They are 0.5 inches from there. And now they're both dimensions from this edge right here. So if I click here and then click the center, the first one is 0.84 inches. The second one, the distance from here to here, is 1.91 inches. And I'm actually going to go back and move this. I like to keep these a little more centered. So it doesn't change the drawing, it just makes it look a little nicer. So I'm going to zoom this back out to fit. And then my final step for the circles is features, extruded cut, and instead of blind, let's just make it through all. There we go. All right. So the only other step that we have, let me pull this over to here. The only other step we have is the angled line, that 45-degree angle. And again, I oftentimes when I teach this in my class face-to-face, I'll give kids the opportunity to try and figure this out on their own. And I get a few that do, and I get a number that don't. But it's really, really simple. So it's a lot simpler if we rotate this to the back. Now, I just used my arrow keys on my keyboard. You can also, from here, you can also spin it to the back. So if you do this, it spins it to the back, and that's probably the best thing to do. So check this out. We're going to go back to sketch. This time, we're going to choose the line tool. So I'm going to click the line. The plane I'm going to draw on is this one. I'm going to go down here in this vertex, and I'm going to draw up to here. Now, the only caution is don't snap it to the midpoint. See the midpoint there? So find the midpoint and then move away from it. It's going to try and keep drawing, and you could box this in. You could click here and then click down here. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is hit the escape key, and that goes away. To dimension this, we're going to go to Smart Dimension. I like to click this first. Now notice this first line, it's like, oh, do you want to change the length of that? You don't. If you move out to here, it'll be like, oh, do you want to change the height of it? Well, you don't. All you really want to do is clicking Smart Dimension, click here first, click this edge second, and then it goes, oh, okay, you want to make that an angle. So that's going to be 45 degrees. And I'm going to go to Features, Extruded Cut, Through All. And there you have it. That's the drawing. Really simple and really quick too. So a couple little things to hand it in. File, Save As. Please make sure you're doing this way. You have to have your Google Drive file stream set up before you come into here. So if you don't know what that means, go back to one of the 4 or 5 other videos I've shown, and you have to set it up before you try and save there. If you get to this point and it's not there, it's because you did not set the Google Drive file stream up previously, all right, which I did before I brought the video on. So I'm going to do Google Drive file stream, my drive, classroom, my 8th grade class, and I'm going to call this my first name, my last name, Drawing3, and go ahead and click Save. All right, now I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom. I'm logged in as my student account. If you guys look here, I'm my MS Tech Ed student. So here's the assignment. Don't just mark it as done. You have to attach something to it. So if I go add a Google Drive file, there it is. It's right here. If I look in a little closer into my drive and classroom in 8th grade, first name, last name, Drawing3. It's uploading it. I go ahead and turn it in. And that is turned in. So this is a much quicker drawing than you guys have done in the past. Hopefully you are getting to the point where you get that as you are starting SolidWorks or any of these programs, that you have to open the Google Drive file stream first. You may notice, those of you that have that are really paying attention, our tech guys added a couple other things. So they actually added File Explorer here. They did a few others too. Actually, the Creative Cloud is there now too, so that makes it easier for my 7th graders as well. I just noticed that. In any case, that's it for this video. Go ahead and submit it, and have a great day.